Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Zero Dark Nerdy, the world's most notorious pop culture podcast.
The filthiest of the filthy.
Brought to you by the Believe Podcast Network as well as betonline.ag for all your sports betting needs. Before we get into one of the first episodes of 2022, this is your boy Brian, a.k.a. El Nino, and today I'm joined with
Ryan Saber, Captain Cleveland Browns, Cavs, Guardians, CLE till I die.
And Jordan.
The woman of many words, Jordan, my daughter, back in the building, spending her little Christmas break with us. So again, as I did mention, this will be part 1 of 2 for our 2022 movie previews. This is going to be more of our non-comic book movies. We felt that episode deserved that deserved its own episode. So we're going to do the comic book previews on another episode with Jerry and Matthew and the guys. So today, myself, Saba, as well as Jordan, are going to be going over some movies coming out this year that we're looking forward to. A couple question marks out there. Maybe a couple underdog films that might surprise us. Maybe predict some bombs. And, just kind of go from there. A lot of movies coming out this year. And, we're just going to kind of get things started here with Jordan. We'll let the ladies start first here. What are you looking forward to here in 2022?
I know we just said we're not going to talk too much about comic book movies, but Batman, I have to mention. I don't know if I'm going to be here for that episode, so Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman, yes. Scream, I'm excited about, of course. That was filmed in Wilmington, too, which is where I go to school. So.
Now, before we get to Scream and everything else, though, a lot of people may not know this. You're not a huge comic book movie fan. So why are you particularly interested in the Batman?
Because this one, I do like, I've mentioned this a bunch of times, I do like Marvel, but like the repetitive action stuff does get a little boring to me. But this looks really dark and gritty, and the Batman movies already kind of have been, but this looks like it's like another level. So I'm just really excited about that aspect. Plus, I personally have always loved Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz. So the idea of them together is really exciting to me.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm just really excited.
DC does like to bring the darkness, so
yeah.
And we'll get to that in the next
episode.
And
I've never really liked Batman as a hero, although I've liked the movies because I like the villains a lot. I like Bane and Joker. But as a hero, I have not really liked him before, and I think that this might change that for me. Okay. So
we'll see. We'll have to have you in after we do, I'm sure, the review of the Batman coming out later this year. So I apologize. What's going on with the rest of your list?
Even though football's almost over, betonline.ag remains your number one spot in 2022 with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. It's a new year with a new updated desktop and mobile website. So sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE to get started. That's BLEAV. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and the UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2022. BetOnline.ag is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, it's where the game starts.
Don't worry, darling, I'm excited about with Florence Pugh because I have been on the Florence Pugh train before anybody was. Thank you, Midsommar. And Fighting with the Family. And it's a psychological thriller. And those are some of my favorite movies, and that's what that's supposed to be. And it's also...
Is that the Olivia Wilde movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Same
She's directing it?
and writer from Booksmart.
Yeah.
Paired up again on this. And Harry Styles, which is... I don't know, I guess that's interesting too.
You should have heard your dad. You should have heard your dad at Eternals when he came out, and your dad was up there screaming with all the girls. So I'm sure he'll be at that one.
I'm excited for the Pixar movie Turning Red about the girl who turns into the gigantic red panda. That just looks very fun and cute, and something that I can just enjoy and not have to necessarily like contemplate life or have anxiety over.
Right.
Just looks fun. And Pixar, continues to amaze me all the time just because like I just watched Soul for the first time the other day. It took me a while. I don't know why. And that was one of the prettiest animations I've ever seen. I just love Pixar, so I'm really excited for that. Yeah, those are the main ones for me.
Okay. All right. Zabo, what are some of yours that you're looking forward to this year?
Yeah, look, I'm going to start by saying that, and this isn't like a pat myself on the back or victory lap thing. This is just a reflection of, I believe it was in our 2021 movie preview episode. I kind of talked about how we were going to get to a point where there was this collision of all these movies that kept getting delayed because of COVID. Right. And then just new content, right, coming out at the same time. And it feels like, barring anything crazy happening, that 2022 is going to be that year. I think like the Oscar board committee, whatever, the Academy Award group needs to be on high alert for 2023, because if you look at the star power from a cast perspective, from a director, writer, editing, all that stuff. I mean, you've got David O. Russell, David Fincher, Scorsese's got a movie coming out this year. I mean, there's multiple movies with Tom Hanks, multiple movies with De Niro. So like, this is even just outside of the comic book movies, because there's like 10 of those coming out. And like you said, we'll do a separate episode on that. So super just pumped about all the DC and Marvel content that's coming this year. There's a lot of really good content. I mean, A24's got a movie coming out that I haven't even heard of that's got Joaquin Phoenix in it. Right. Like, and it's got some of the people that have done some of those favorite A24. You guys are more A24 than I am. I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't even watched Uncut Gems because I can't take all the anxiety. But
a lot.
the point I'm trying to make is like, you're going to have all these movies that have been delayed over the last 18 months combined with all this stuff that's brand new and being developed over years. So I'm really excited about this year and just what award season's going to look like in the spring of 2023. With that being said, first and foremost, Uncharted comes out February 18th. You know, Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg, we're big Wahlberg fans on the show, obviously. Big, huge Tom Holland fans. You got Antonio Banderas as the villain in that, which it's always fun. Antonio Banderas is always fun. Always like him. Loved him for years. And, you know, it's based on a video game series. And I think that for people who play video games, and if Jordan Brown was on here, you know, he would kind of talk about it. The Uncharted video game series is one of the best video game series of the last 10, 15 years or so. So there's just a connection because of that. I've loved, you know, playing as Nathan Drake with Sully. You know, Tom Holland plays the Nathan Drake character. Wahlberg plays the Sully character. So it's going to be really great. The one thing I'll say about that is, you know, movie and TV shows based off of video games are usually kind of hit or miss. Like
more miss than hit.
More miss than hits. But like, obviously, you know, the Resident Evil. Yeah, I mean, Resident Evil stuff has been okay. The Witcher, obviously, the Witcher series that's on Netflix with Henry Cavill's good. So, you know, look, just in general, TV and movies and the writing and things like that from an adaptation standpoint have been improving. So I'm optimistic that we'll get, at the very least, a fun movie. I don't know if we're going to have, you know, I don't know if it's going to be award worthy or anything like that, but, you know, it'll be a fun movie. Top Gun, you know, look, the Top Gun sequel, Maverick, I talked about this in our preview in 2020.
Yeah.
That's how long this one's been delayed. It comes out in May. You know, it's a big year for Tom Cruise. Mm-hmm. Tom Cruise has the Top Gun sequel coming out. He's got another Mission Impossible movie coming out. Those are always fun. But the one I'm really looking forward to is Top Gun. You know, look, I'm looking more forward to sort of the nostalgia and the visuals of the dogfighting and things like that, the aerial visuals. Mm-hmm. I don't really have expectations that this is going to be some kind of like cinematic masterpiece with like tremendous acting and all that. I mean, Miles Teller's in it. We all love Miles Teller. Yep. So it'll be fun. He plays Goose's son. Obviously, you'll have that whole dynamic. You killed my dad thing. I hate you. And he's still Maverick. He's still, we've seen it in the preview. He's got that sort of defiant attitude. Like, I can't believe you guys welcomed me back. And he's like, Maverick, this is orders. We ordered you to come back. And he's like, oh yeah, right. So he's still that sort of same guy. So just looking forward to Top Gun. Jurassic World Dominion, June 10th, fun summer blockbuster. I'm a big fan of this rebooted franchise. Obviously, the original is a masterpiece, classic, and they kind of fell off a little bit with some of the sequels of the original. But this rebooted franchise with Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard is great. And I think one of the things that's really good is they're bringing back all the original cast, right? So Sam Neill's going to be in this, playing Dr. Grant. Laura Dern's coming back. Jeff Goldblum's coming back to play Ian Malcolm. So I think that'll be really fun to have this new group with the old group. Again, it'll be a summer blockbuster. It'll be fun. I'm not expecting it to be some sort of like character development and, all that. I mean, there'll be some fucking crazy hybrid dinosaur running around that they have to kind of capture, and right. T-Rex will come save the day at some point. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be the same thing that you get, but it'll be fun and it'll be exciting. Probably the movie that I wouldn't say these next two are probably neck and neck for the two that I'm looking forward to the most outside of sort of our standard wheelhouse of the MCU and DC is, and this next one's probably, to be honest with you, this has probably been one of the most anticipated movies of the last 10 years. And that's the Avatar sequel. Avatar 2 comes out in December. It's the first of 3 sequels. It's been 13 years since the original. As we all know, the original Avatar was groundbreaking. It was innovative. Jim Cameron, I call him Jim like we're buddies. James Cameron, developed his own technology for that. Very similar to things that he's done for movies like Abyss and Alien. And he's doing the same thing here. I think if you think about sort of the innovative film techniques and everything they did from that movie, it only makes sense that it took 10, 12, 13 years to be able to do this, because he's kind of created a situation for himself where he always has to kind of raise the bar, right? So this is being shot in 4K at 48 frames per second. And he's also shooting it in HDR in high dynamic range. So again, it's going to be one of those things where this is the first movie that's ever been shot like this. Tarantino's been known to do things like this, where he sort of shoots his movies in weird, what do you call it? Aspect ratio, whatever. Tarantino does it. I think James Cameron's known for doing it, but obviously Tarantino is a filmmaker and James Cameron's an action movie maker, right? So it's a little bit different from that perspective, but all the cast is coming back. They're bringing a new element to it. This is going underwater. There's going to be a lot of underwater scenes over some of these sequels for Avatar. Like I said, this is the first of 3, I believe. They filmed this Avatar 2 and Avatar 3 at the same time. Just looking forward to it. I love that movie. That's a movie I saw, and I'm not a big go back to the movie multiple times to see films. I mean, I do it, but I saw this one 4 times in the movie theater. I really enjoyed the original Avatar and the visuals. So really pumped about that. And then, as you know, I mean, I'm a huge Scorsese guy. Huge. DiCaprio is by far, I mean, it's not even close. He's my favorite actor. You have Killers of the Flower Moon that's coming out this year. Hopefully it is. Right now, there is no date set, but Scorsese struck a deal with Apple. So this will be exclusive to Apple TV. It's got Scorsese as the director. It's got DiCaprio. It's got Robert De Niro as well. This is the first time I think Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro have done anything since A Boy's Life. Yeah,
it's been a long time.
You know what I mean? So 25 years. The other thing I really like about this is sort of unsung. Jesse Plemons is quickly becoming a Scorsese guy. And he actually, I was reading an article as I was preparing for this. They had to go to DiCaprio and like they rewrote this script a little bit. Jesse Plemons is like the lead in this movie.
Oh wow.
He's the lead FBI investigator. That for those of you that don't know anything about this movie, it's a true story based on 1920s Oklahoma, where the FBI had to get involved to investigate a ring of sort of a serial killer. And I think it had to do, there was oil found, there was a bunch of farmers and Native American land, and the very authentic movie. Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio spent a lot of time with these Native American tribes in Oklahoma to make sure that everything would be authentic and that they were happy with the way that they were going to portray everything. But going back to the original thing I started with, Jesse Plemons is becoming a Scorsese guy, and him and Leo are the co-leads in this film. And De Niro plays the lead suspect, and DiCaprio is De Niro's nephew. So obviously not a lot of, I shouldn't say obviously, there's not a lot of details.
Right.
I could have dug into it a little bit more because it's based off of a book and read some information, but I don't want to know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I want to go into it. So that's one. There isn't a date yet. End of the year. That'll be a holiday, a 2022 holiday release on Apple TV. But really looking forward to that. So yeah, that's my list.
Good list.
What's more important than peace of mind? Nothing. And that's what NordVPN is here for, to give you peace of mind while you are online. And with all of the threats that you face today on the internet, it is more important than ever to be sure that you have the best VPN you can get. NordVPN is the world's best VPN service, offering the fastest connectivity, most servers, and next-gen encryption to make sure that everything you do online stays secure. Plus, you can use NordVPN on all of your computers and devices, no matter the operating system. With NordVPN's unlimited bandwidth, you never have to worry about a slow connection either, and plans start at under $4 a month. So grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/believe, and that's believe spelled BLEAV. You'll get up to 70% off your NordVPN plan, plus one additional month for free.
In terms of my list, there's one that I honestly did not know about until I started making my list, and I'm really, really excited about. I'm not a gigantic fan of Elvis, but I do like a lot of his music and just kind of the aura, the mystique about it. This was the first really, really mega star of music, period. So we got the Elvis movie coming out June 24th. With Austin Butler. A lot of you may know him. Not a lot of roles yet, but he played Tex in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood over at the ranch. He'll be playing the role of Elvis. And then Tom Hanks is going to be playing Elvis's famous manager, Colonel Tom Parker. So it's going to show the dynamic between them. But I think the thing that really stands out to me the most, and as much as I love Tom Hanks, I really do, is that Baz Luhrmann is directing this film. So visually, his films have been fantastic. We're talking about The Great Gatsby, Moulin Rouge. Of course, Romeo and Juliet was my first introduction to Baz Luhrmann. So looking forward to that one. That one really stood out. Saba mentioned Uncharted. I'm looking forward to that as well. And again, on that note, hopefully video game movies and shows, more missed than hit. This one, I think, should do very well. I mean, obviously, I think it will do well in the theaters, but as far as critics or reviews and things like that, if it stays pretty true to the games, I think it's going to do very well and obviously would lead to a massive franchise. It's funny, too, because as we were watching Wall Street, there's a little segment in there where Mark Wahlberg's talking about the movie. Apparently, he's had the rights to this movie for quite some time, and he goes like, we've been working on this so long. I was Tom Holland's character back in the day, and now he's playing.
Yeah, he's like, I was going to be Nathan Drake.
Right. So it's cool that he's still able to stay in the film and be a part of this, obviously. Top Gun Maverick's another one. I'm looking forward to it. It wasn't confirmed up until recently that Val Kilmer is going to come back as Iceman. Two other ones, definitely looking forward to The Northman. It's coming from Robert Eggers, who did The Witch, as well as The Lighthouse, two A24 films. It's got our boy, the sheriff from Bontemps down in True Blood. Eric Northman, played by Alexander Skarsgård. So it's a 10th century Viking revenge tale. So really, really looking forward to that. This is probably the biggest budget that Robert Eggers has had, I would imagine, just compared to movies like The Witch and, of course, The Lighthouse. So really looking forward to that. And then last but definitely not least, and I mean, again, there's other movies out there coming out as well. And we're going to kind of get into some, movies that question marks, maybe some underdogs that are going to do well. But one that I've been looking forward to since about the end of summer of 2021, when I found out they were doing this, is The Black Phone. It is based on a short story from Joe Hill. If you do not know who Joe Hill, that is the son of Stephen King. And that is coming out on June 24th. Ethan Hawke plays a serial killer who pretty much tracks down kids and puts them in his basement and does terrible things. And there's one, the newest, I guess, edition, you could say, that he brings down there, and the phone, it's off the hook, but apparently past victims call this kid to try to help get him out. So, based on
can't wait for that one.
I know Saba's going to be out for that one. Stephen King short stories have done fairly well. I mean, not all of them, but the majority of them. I mean, we got Shawshank out there, of course, Stand By Me. So who knows? Hopefully this gives Joe Hill a little bit of life out there as far as the cinema world goes. But I'm really, really looking forward to this one. I know Saba's.
I have anxiety just thinking about the premise of that movie.
Yeah.
Let's make a movie about a serial killer who fucking steals little kids. Yes.
Yep. And it's set in like the 70s too, I believe.
Yeah.
So the preview came out right before Thanksgiving, I believe. It's creepy as hell. Ethan Hawke you just got to watch it. Look up the trailer for The Black Phone, and we'll go from there. So those are my 5 that I'm looking forward to the most. Top Gun, of course, nostalgia in there. Elvis, I mean, we're talking Tom Hanks, and of course, Baz Luhrmann. And, again, the dates: Elvis, June 24th, The Northman coming out April 22nd, Uncharted, February 18th, Top Gun Maverick, May 27th, and The Black Phone, June 24th. So in terms of other movies that, maybe some question marks that you might think are bust, things like that. And Jordan, we'll start off with you. Like, what are some of your, whether concerns, excited about? What are some on your list here?
For me, a big question mark, and this is controversial too, but it's Nope, Jordan Peele's movie coming out, because I loved Get Out. I really love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies that have come out in recent years. But I've rewatched Us probably 4 times. I don't care for it. I don't know what it is about it. Although I love, obviously, Lupita Nyong''s performance in it. It kind of makes it worth rewatching for me in the first place. And then what was the other one? The Candyman. I only saw that once. I need to rewatch it.
Well, he produced that and co-wrote it, so he didn't direct that.
That was Rose Glatt.
Right.
No.
I don't remember the director, but he was just a producer on
Saint
that.
Maud.
But still.
Yeah. Candyman was okay to me. So anyways, yeah, Nope is a question mark for me just because I just was not crazy about Us. And so he only has, for director's work, I think he only has in movies Get Out and Us. So it's kind of like one win and then one like loss for me. So that's the question mark I have is Nope. But I'm really excited to see it nonetheless. And doing research for this, that a Bob's Burgers movie is coming out. That's a question. I love Bob's Burgers, but that's a question mark for me only because, I don't know. And they said it's going to be fully like a musical.
Oh.
I'm just not like a big musical gal. There's a few I like, but that's just a question mark for me.
Sure. No,
purely
I get
because it's a musical.
I get
but
it.
it might be like really, I'm sure it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah. And it's always up in the air when a successful cartoon series, I believe, does a movie. Some do okay. Some do pretty well. And there's others that just tank. So there's no telling. And this,
already we're seeing heavy promos for this movie Moonfall. The Roland Emmerich, who's like one of the kings of like world destruction, end of the world movies. But like, I can already tell you that I was watching football before. I saw it like 4 times in the first half of the football game I was watching. So I'm just huge question marks there. Not loving that one. The cast isn't terrible, but I don't know. It just feels a little. I need to see something else besides Asteroids, man. Like I need to see something else. Death on the Nile. I think, Murder on the Orient Express was a great movie, good sequel, great cast. But all I'm going to say is Armie Hammer's in that movie, dude. And that's a guy that you do not want attached to your films right now. So as much as I like Kenneth Branagh and, Gal Gadot's in it and Annette Bening and all that, love the cast and everything. That to me is just like, woo, yeah. That's a toughie. But what are you going to do? Right. I mean, it's not like they can just scrap it. What's another one? There's a few that I was like, oh man, I don't know if I'm all on this one. The Legally Blonde 3 doing the Reese Witherspoon thing again after so many years. I mean, I know that, I talked about Top Gun and Avatar, that movies that haven't had installments for a long time, but I don't remember Legally Blonde 2 being all that great. So I think that's one it's like, oh man, why are you going down that road? And there was one more, the Mario movie. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They've done that before. They tried live action. I don't believe this is live action. I believe it's animated. And they got a good cast. So it might end up being okay. But those are the ones that I'm looking at and I'm like, I don't know. Now, the ones that I'm looking at and I'm like, I think there's some real potential here. Last year, I talked about Respect with Jennifer Hudson, the Aretha Franklin biopic. I'm a huge fan of biopics. And there's the Whitney Houston one, I Want to Dance with Somebody, that's coming out in December. This one has sign off from her estate or whatever as being, authentic and not just some sort of grandiose, drug induced thing with her and Bobby Brown. So I'm excited for that. If anything, the music is going to be great. Look, I mean, there's just so many. I talked about it. Wes Anderson's got another movie coming out this year called Asteroid City. That's got Bill Murray and Tilda Swinton, Adrian Brody, Jeffrey Wright, Tom Hanks, Margot Robbie's in there. So like that could be great. Those are new additions to the Wes Anderson world. I'm talking about Tom Hanks and Margot Robbie, but like he always uses Tilda Swinton, always uses Bill Murray, uses Adrian Brody a lot. So really looking forward to that one. I mean, I'm just going down this list, man. There is The Killer. David Fincher's got a movie going straight to Netflix it's a script from the guy that wrote Seven with Michael Fassbender starring as the killer, I guess. So that could be really, really fun. This Pinocchio thing I've been hearing about for so long with Guillermo del Toro, they're talking about that. It's funny because Robert Downey Jr. was actually shopping that 10 years ago. 10 years ago, he was on Howard Stern and he wanted to do a live action Pinocchio where he was Pinocchio. And Tom Hanks was going to play Geppetto.
Wow.
And, I remember him going on Howard Stern like 2 or 3 times over a 4-year period, and they would talk about it every time. So they're kind of finally doing this. And, Guillermo del Toro, obviously, his movies historically, great visuals. He's able to sort of do the surreal, and I think that's the type of director and visionary that you need to have behind a movie like that. There's one more. There was a Kevin Hart sort of case of mistaken identity movie where
Woody Harrelson, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just, one of my favorite Kevin Hart movie is Central Intelligence with The Rock, right? It's not a great movie, but it's definitely rewatchable, right? Like it's funny. The action's good. The Rock's obviously great. What? The Rock's obviously great. And I think you could get that same sort of energy with him and Woody Harrelson. Yeah. So I think that's another one that, may not be a, blockbuster and a theatrical success, but that could be a movie that you see, you like it, you enjoy it, you laugh. And then 10 years from now, every time it comes on TNT, you're watching it.
Yeah, this could definitely shape up to be a White Men Can't Jump meets Die Hard. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So it's funny.
One more thing, Brian. That movie I talked about, that A24 movie with Joaquin Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ari Aster.
Yep.
It's his third film for A24. He did Hereditary. He did Midsummer. It's called Disappointment Boulevard. Comes out in April. It's got Joaquin. It's got Meryl Streep. It's got Parker Posey. So that just feels like it's a decade-spanning portrait of one of the most successful entrepreneurs of all time. That's all they're saying about it, and it says, audience is based on Ari Aster's past and all that, and the cinematographer. I can't even pronounce this gentleman's name or gal's name. It's one of those. There's a lot of vowels in there. It was met with plenty of indelibly chilling imagery that is the trademark of their partnership. So it sounds like it's one of those high anxiety, crazy A24 movies. I may watch this one. We'll see. I mean, I love Joaquin, so there you go.
Yeah, I read something where he was saying that this is going to be a horror comedy, and he considers Midsommar a horror comedy in a way. Yeah.
Does he? I've never heard that.
Yeah, I saw it on there.
There is.
I mean, not like
I see.
you know what I mean?
He's talking about.
Right. But the visuals though
But
are
very
freaky as hell. Weird.
Wow.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
everywhere. So yeah, interested to see what Ari Aster comes out with. For the question marks, I was right there. I'm just going to kind of fly by these because you and Jordan kind of touched on a few of them. Nope is definitely one of my biggest question marks of this year, especially based on what Jordan says. Us. Nah, I watched it but I will say this, but by the second time I watched Us, I did like it better than my first time watching it. But that one's still, am I going to watch it again? Probably not. Compared to Get Out, which is fantastic. My underdog film of the year is the one that Jordan mentioned with Olivia Wilde, her second film since Booksmart, Don't Worry, Darling. So that one is definitely, I think, is going to get a lot of recognition that it should and most likely deserves. My bomb of the year is actually what Saba brought up. I got to predict Moonfall is my bomb of 2022.
Just with all the money that they're spending on marketing for that thing, like, I don't even know, man.
Exactly. And, I started doing some homework on it. So, yeah, Roland, how do you say his last name, Saba?
Emmerich.
So, yes, he did, Independence Day, which to me is probably my favorite out of the bunch. He did the Independence Day Resurrection or whatever, Day After Tomorrow, 10,000 BC, 2012.
He did 2012. I like 2012. That's the one with Cusack, right?
See, the only thing about 2012, though, is there's like 3 scenes where they barely escape in an airplane. I don't know how many times you can escape in the same day.
Did he do the Day After Tomorrow, too?
Yes. Yes.
I like Day After Tomorrow with Jake Gyllenhaal.
I like that one way better. So, so this movie has Halle Berry, Patrick Wilson, which I feel like he's in 20 movies a year.
He's not a lead, man. He's a supporting guy. Like,
yeah.
One of my favorite movies that he's in, I just watched it the other day, is The A-Team. He plays Lynch, the CIA guy, the bad guy from the A-Team remake that they did about 10 years ago. He's fucking phenomenal in that. That dude's not a lead. He's a supporting guy.
Yeah, and I like him in movies, but I agree. And Halle Berry, she's not drawing the crowds like she was in the late 90s, early 2000s. Love Halle Berry. Love you, Halle.
You know what?
But not one of those names that's going to, fill the seats. Let's
completely disagree. We love you, Halle. We love you, baby.
But the funny thing is, so I started looking at these movies, what they cost and what they made, and you can see why this guy's still getting these roles. So Independence Day, the remake or the sequel, I'm sorry, cost $165, and this is all million, by the way. Brought in $390. Day After Tomorrow cost $125, brought in $552. 10,000 BC, which I thought for sure maybe broke even, if that, cost $105 million, brought in $269. 2012, I think his best financial film since Independence Day, $200 million, which is still a lot, especially at that time for a non-Marvel movie, and brought in $791 million. So, you can see it's not like he's losing money on these films, which is why he still gets to make them. But this one, Moonfall, cost $140 million, and we're not talking about the commercial ads and everything else either. This one, I would honestly be surprised if it breaks $100 million.
I'll be surprised if it's at the theater 3 weeks after it releases.
Hey, yep, I'm right there with you. So this might be one of the first that doesn't show a good return on investment there. And then this one I like to call "You Had My Curiosity, but Now You Have My Attention" film of 2022 is Bullet Train, coming out July 15th. David Leitch, I believe it is. He is an uncredited co-director of John Wick. He did Atomic Blonde with
Charlize Theron.
that one, very underrated film. He did Hobbs and Shaw as well as Deadpool 2.
So I liked Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, got a pretty decent resume. Movie set on a Japanese bullet train.
Yeah, that's the assassins, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They figured out that their missions are connected, but the cast, though, we're talking Brad Pitt, Joey King, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, Zazie Beetz, Bad Bunny, which is an interesting, and then we also have Sandra Bullock. So I saw this and I'm like, okay, I'm interested. I can't wait to see a trailer for this. But yeah, Bullet Train, July 15th.
You had me until fucking Bad Bunny, dude. Like that just changed my whole opinion.
Hey, you never know. It's probably like a 5-minute cameo. I highly doubt he.
Bad Bunny was in what did the Corona commercials with Snoop Dogg, right?
Yep.
All right,
We'll see.
I'm gonna give it a shot. The dude attached to John Wick and all that, and Hobbs and Shaw, so it should be at a minimum. It's fun, especially if you get like smart assy, like shticky Brad Pitt. You know what I mean? Like the guy, like the guy he normally plays in those types of movies. It'll be fun.
Kind of like the Mr. and Mrs. Smith Brad Pitt.
Yes,
you know what I mean. So
or the Oceans,
yeah,
Brad
exactly.
Pitt.
Any of the Oceans, and then Sandra Bullock too. Hopefully, she's one of the assassins. Like I saw this, I saw the details for it. Did a little.
Sandy's got a big year coming up.
Yeah, she's got a few. Before we check out of here, any last thoughts? Any solo dubs?
My little cousin Javi said that he thinks Uncharted's gonna be good. He was excited for Uncharted.
Javi.
Yeah, he's really into video games right now. So, and then, the new Hocus Pocus. I have to mention that for my aunts because they're both really big fans of Hocus Pocus, and I'm sure it's going to be great and fun. So, yeah.
There we go. Saba, anything new coming out for Water Cooler this year? Or?
Yeah, I guess we'll say at WC Sports Pod, the Water Cooler, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, follow, and subscribe to us. I've made it a point now to start shouting out Zero Dark Nerdy at the end of every episode as well, and giving the social media tags and all that. So I think it makes sense for us to start doing as much cross promoting as possible. Look, what I would say is, for those that don't listen to the Water Cooler, if you enjoy sports, please take a listen. Myself and Luke, we have a weekly show. We're on the Believe Podcast Network as well. It's been a tough season. The Browns were terrible. And so, in the coming weeks, we'll have the NFL playoff stuff. We talk terribly about the Eagles on that podcast. So if you're not an Eagles fan, this is definitely the podcast for you. But yeah, NFL off season, we get guys from all over to come on. Guy from Believe in NFL Draft Prospects. His name's Alex Gilstraps. He contributes to Sports Illustrated. He'll be on in a few weeks talking about the NFL draft and stuff like that. So just please, at WC Sports Pod, like, follow, and subscribe.
There you go. On behalf of everybody from Zero Dark Nerdy, again, we want to wish each and every one of you a very happy new year. Looking forward to season 5, year 4. That'll be officially kicking off here in April. I believe April is right around our anniversary time, but we're going to be having more episodes come out your way. This one was part 1 of our 2020 movie previews. The next episode will be 2022 comic book movies. Then we got TV show preview. We'll do our gaming preview, all that fun stuff. And of course, reviews, interviews, everything you expect and more. And hopefully I will have this whole Twitch, Streamlabs, OBS thing figured out here in the next few weeks. I've been saying that for a year, but I'm close. I'm close, dang it. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow Zero Dark Nerdy on all social media formats. As always, big thank you to the Believe Podcast Network as well as betonline.ag. And we'll see you next time. Peace.
Yes!
And anger management? Fuck anger management.
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.